Hello, welcome. I'm thrilled you found me here on the Just Bloody Post-it podcast. I'm Helen Perry, and for a living I help people with their Instagram, which actually more often means helping them to step out of their comfort zone, to show up, to put themselves out there, which always goes fine, by the way. There's no need to overthink it because, oh my goodness, how we tend to worry and want all the answers before we start. I've found that you don't learn until you start doing, and that's what this podcast is all about, the doing of things. So, to my guest this week, she's a doer, one of the hardest working business owners and marketers on Instagram.
If you want to promote your business, it's very simple. You're going to have to try and step out of your comfort zone and talk to your customers. It's highly beneficial. If I suddenly just stopped talking tomorrow and just purely showed pictures of teapots and waves crashing, it wouldn't be as engaging.
Karina Rickards owns the iconic stripy ceramics company Cornishware. If you follow me on Instagram, that is where I get my stripy mugs from. Since she and her husband bought Cornishware, Karina has grown the most loyal community of stripy followers on her account, Cornishware Artist. It's helped her double her sales in a year, by the way. A little word about the sound this week. We were the victims of Cornish Wi-Fi during the recording, but Suze, the producers, worked some wonders. Turn it up a little bit, stick with us. It is so worth the listen. Karina and I talk about the reality of making Insta work as a business owner. She'll tell you the truth about how much time she spends on the platform. And I think you'll love the story about how her knack for marketing was born as a child when she had to help sell her grandfather's paintings. Hello, Karina.
Hello, Helen. How are you?
I'm so well. It is a delight to have you as a guest on the first series of Just Bloody Post-it. Who else would I ask? You're one of my favourite Instagrammers.
Oh, thank you so much. What an honour. Wow, I love the intro.
Listen, Karina, your company is in Cornwall. Your Instagram account is about Cornwall, but anybody listening to this podcast will realise that that's probably not where you hail from. How did you come to own Cornishware?
Well, as you can tell from my accent, although I try my very hardest to sound very British, but I'm not. I'm half English and half French, born in France. I married an Englishman because I was just after something a bit more exotic across the channel, so I ended up marrying an Englishman, and it's wonderful. Now we've been together for 30 years. I've got 5 children. My husband is an entrepreneur, I should say. He buys and sells businesses, mostly to do with removals. So this has nothing to do with removals. Cornishware is totally different. And we heard that the business went under, sadly, and we decided like that. We didn't think about it too much at all. We just decided to buy it and rescue this heritage brand.
So you decided to rescue Cornishware. I think it's one of those brands that we wouldn't necessarily know the name of Cornishware, but if somebody showed you a Cornishware product, you go, oh, those. Can you describe what you make and sell at Cornishware?
Cornishware is something which seems to be ingrained in us, and it seems to have just weave its way through our childhoods and our lives. And you're right about saying that we don't always automatically match Cornishware to the stripy mug, but then of course the minute you see the mug or a teapot, you know exactly what it is. Most people say, oh yes, of course I know. I remember seeing it hanging in my grandmother's dresser in her kitchen and so on. So Cornishware is nearly 100 years old. Some of the pieces, some of the designs are 100 years old. Some of them actually are just about to be 100 years old. We are celebrating in about 5 years' time, which is very exciting.
So you bought a ceramics company. Is there any link with you and ceramics, Karina, or are you just the kind of couple that think, right, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to go into ceramics?
Well, my husband had a link with ceramics in the past, he had, a few years ago, was importing French ceramics from France to the trade, to restaurants and so on in England. So we had a link already, and he always loved pottery. So as a little boy, he loved joining the pottery classes, and I've still got his little jugs and pots here at home. So I think he has gone back to his true calling.
Oh, they often say that you should look to what you enjoyed in childhood to inform your career as an adult, like the kind of play that you liked and that kind of thing. So that's really interesting.
It's very true. So Charles really enjoyed doing pottery, and I had a little pottery kit uh, with plaster of Paris, and I had little molds, and I used to make little tea parties with my teddy bears, and that's how I spent most of my childhood doing.
Oh, well, there you go. You're rediscovering your youth. Karina, let's talk about your role now. You pretty much appear to do Instagram for Cornishware. Is that almost your whole job now?
Yes, well, it started just under 5 years ago. We have two accounts. We have Cornishware and Cornishware Artist, which was quite new at the time. Most companies just have one. But I really, really felt I just wanted to add another dimension to Cornishware, and have one which was lifestyle, very kind of very kind of everyday behind the scenes. I just wanted to share how a Cornish ware was made. It's such a beautiful process that I thought this was too good to be true. So both our accounts are very popular. So one is static, it's beautiful, doesn't move. Not so much chatting, and I'm the chatting one. I'm the one with all the pottery dust and the stains and the paint stains everywhere, and the chats and the Cornwall and the beach. And there's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of chatter going on. I am a little bit. I've said that to you before, but I'm basically the shopkeeper, the person you walk in the shop. You look at the beautiful window, which is Cornish ware. You walk in, the little bell goes ding ding at the door, and I'm there with my peony on, covered in paint stains, having a chat with you.
It just, I think, shows a beautiful understanding of how a business can use Instagram so well. And that is to tell the story of the business. You opening up Cornishware Artist and showing people everything and nothing's really off limits behind the scenes of the business is just so fascinating. And people can often worry that that's going to be the boring stuff, but it's really not, is it?
No, no, no. Don't be afraid to show all aspects of your business on Instagram. The more you share, the more you get your followers to engage. Packing, for example, I've been spending a couple of days in the warehouse this week packing away and using a tape gun and a bit of cardboard and adding some kind of heavy metal music in the background, carrying boxes. All this is part of a business. If I just showed a beautiful tea set every day, all day, as beautiful as it can be, it will start being maybe a bit dull. Same with the beach and the waves crashing every day. Lovely, but it gets a bit boring. We all need to be constantly amused, or we all love to learn. Let's keep it all vibrant, and it's life. No 2 days are the same here at Cornishware, and I really wanted to show that.
How did you know that Insta was the right platform for you? Were you using Instagram anyway, or how did you decide, do you know what, I'm going to commit not just to the creation of content for one account, but for two Instagram accounts, because I think this is a good move for my business?
Well, I thought about YouTube, which is something I still want to do, actually. I want to start doing this, but that's quite a different vibe. Good too, but different. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I definitely want to do this, but I'm very relaxed in front of the camera. Well, so I just thought, well, let's keep it really raw, really every day. And I think Instagram is free as well, free platform, another bonus. And I can just do it from my camera. I just walk around with my phone in my back pocket. And when I see something interesting, or even sometimes not so interesting, with a pile of plates, which I think is not interesting, but actually it's actually really beautiful to look at. A pile of Cornish ware plates. I just whip out my phone and it's instant. Yes, there are other channels I am exploring. Instagram is my best one at the moment. It's the one that is the most helpful. It's forever changing. Who knows what's around the corner? I'm sure there's going to be something else, but Instagram has been absolutely fantastic for our business. We have doubled in sales this past year. People have had a lot more time on their phones, sadly, due to the pandemic. But this has also meant that I've really spent a lot more time on Instagram, and it's been time very well spent.
I think you could offer people an insight into what it means to really wholeheartedly commit to your Instagram. Talk us through your day on Instagram.
For this to work, I think there's no secret. You're gonna have to put the hours, and I really do mean hours, not minutes a day. So I wake up at about 6 o'clock and have a cup of tea in bed, and I start working on my Instagram at about 6:15 until about 7:45, where I rush and have a shower and tell my daughter to get ready for school. In the car at 8:10, come back at 8:30, and I carry on working from 8:30 till about 10:30, and then I work in the pottery, and then from about 5:30. There you go. I'm back on it until about 10:30, 10 o'clock. I'll try and stop at 10 and have half an hour. I read a book and switch off, which is very important. It's about a minimum 5 hours a day. 5 hours minimum. It's between 5 and 7 hours a day plus pottery work.
Karina, I think you're one of the only people I've ever heard be so honest about their and open about the time commitment they are making to their Instagram or whatever platform it is that they're using. And I know that when I've interviewed you before for Instagram Live, and you've been one of the most popular guests I've ever had on my live channel on my Instagram, people message me and go, ask Karina, does she really do all this stuff herself? All of the stories that you share, all of the videos, everything. Do you have anybody to help you with it?
No, it's all me. I do everything. So I take all the photos, I film everything. In fact, most of it is selfies. I've got tripod. I don't like to ask people, oh, can you take a photo? Can you film? I don't do that anymore. At the very, very beginning, I used to ask my daughters, bribing them with sweets or whatever. But those days are long gone now. And I just like to do it all by myself. I don't want this to be a bit of a pain for my family, because it's work. I just do my work, get my tripod out, and then I switch off and do other things. Yeah, it's all me. So I listen to a lot of music and I write things down. I walk around with a notebook. If I like a music, I will Shazam it. I think that will be perfect for a particular type of story. I've got various playlists. I've got a warehouse playlist and a pottery playlist and a kind of chill or sales to get everybody really going. So it's constantly in my mind, and the more you think about it, the more creative you get, and the more ideas suddenly just pop.
I really agree that the more you create. And actually, one of my favorite quotes is a Picasso quote, and he said, inspiration exists, but it must find you working. So once you start to work on this stuff, the ideas about what you could do with it and the potential there is just grows and grows and grows. I was really interested to hear you saying, YouTube and maybe podcasts, and your mind is open to all of this stuff, I think.
Yes, I'm buzzing with ideas, and I'm sure you're the same, Helen. Absolutely buzzing all the time. It's trying to be different, stepping out, being noticed. I want people to stop it. It's all about getting people to stop in their tracks on Instagram. We're all there swiping away. I want them to stop. What is going to make them stop and engage? So you've got to step out. You've got to do something a little bit different, or show something utterly beautiful that's so mesmerizing that they're going to stop in their tracks. And I'm forever thinking of ideas, and I love it. And that's the thing. You need to love it fall in love with Instagram. There's a lot of negativity, and then recently I've just done a giveaway, and we've had some terrible problems with scammers and things. Never mind, let's park it on one side, and actually there's a lot of positivity with Instagram. So let's just think about the positives.
It's obvious to anybody listening to this conversation or who follows you on Instagram that you have a real natural sense for marketing, Karina. Is that just something that's in you, or is there something in your background that has helped you turn your hand to social marketing so proficiently?
So thank you very much, Helen. So I got a feeling it's the way I've been brought up. I come from a family of artists. My grandfather was rather he's gone a long time ago now, sadly, but he was an impressionist and used to host these lavish exhibitions in the south of France and near Paris, where they used to live. And as a little girl, I was, maybe 7, 8, I was told by my rather strict grandmother to go and serve champagne and canapes to all the clients that turned up to see his beautiful paintings. And my grandmother would often say, "You are only allowed one little, kind of canapé if you say something, something interesting about your grandfather's paintings. You have to say something interesting, and then you're allowed to have a little nibble or whatever she was serving at the time. And then when you're 7 and you're starving and you're holding the tray and you're walking around, so the first person I would say something like, "Oh, I remember my grandfather painting this particular painting because he loves sunflowers, and he had this thing about painting sunflowers, and because he used to grow them in his back garden." And then I could see my grandfather would wink at me, so I was allowed to go and eat the little sausage, cocktail sausage or whatever she was serving at the time. So it started at the age of 7, carried on, and I helped them. And I could see my grandfather lying down in this kind of chaise longue, this kind of day bed with his, it was very eccentric, my grandfather, with his long hair and his headband. That's maybe where I got my headband idea from. I always wear headbands. And he would just lie down and tell everybody about each painting and the story behind each painting, and inevitably it would be a sellout.
Oh, Karina, what a story! What an experience! What was your grandfather's name?
His name was Maurice Legrand. So Legrand is my maiden name, Legrand. He was friends, can you believe, with Dali. So Dali and him were besties. Dali told my grandfather one day, "Come with me to Paris and seek fortune." And my grandfather said, "Oh, I'm all right, actually. I'm going to stay in the south of France. I've got my 2 boys and my wife. You go. I'll stay here." And then the rest is history.
Wow. But it's kind of comforting to know that the early Impressionists were marketers themselves. I mean, selling is something that's as old as being a human being, I imagine. And your grandmother knew that in order to shift that artwork, it would help to have somebody telling a story about it. It's all storytelling, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I use this technique every day. So my grandmother, she was very much in charge of all the accounts, the money side of things. My grandfather was purely creative, and he loved being surrounded with people, and he loved. I think I haven't got, sadly, my grandmother's gift with numbers. So my husband is very good at doing all this. So he's in charge of all that kind of side of logistics and finance and all this. And I am much more like my grandfather at just sitting around and talking and enjoying being with people and sharing the story. I love all that.
I think you might have some of your grandmother's business sense mixed in there, Karina, for sure. You also mentioned that you feel comfortable in front of the camera. Talk to me about that, because I am trying to advise people all the time: put yourself out there on stories, put yourself out there, put your face into your account. This is something that you have always felt comfortable with. What do you put that down to?
I think maybe my age, maybe being now a middle age means that you're a bit more confident. I think maybe you get to an age where you think, oh well, I'm just going to be me. So maybe that's it. Other thing is that I look at my phone and I just pretend I'm having a cup of tea with a best friend. We're just sitting at my kitchen table having a bit of a natter. So that's also helped me at the very beginning. I used to imagine just one person, and then just see your phone as just an object. So imagine you're talking to a jug or to a vase or something. Just ignore the camera side of things. That's banish that thought. Just imagine you're talking to a little box or a friend or whatever helps you.
But it is so helpful to your account, I think. I mean, Cornish ware artist would be nothing without you being front and centre of it, would it? You know that.
If you want to promote your business, it's very simple. You're going to have to try and step out of your comfort zone and talk to your customers. I think that it's highly beneficial. It's yes, if I suddenly just stopped talking tomorrow and just purely show pictures of teapots and waves crashing, it wouldn't be as engaging.
Also, coming back to your shopkeeper point, you wouldn't dive under the counter if somebody walked through the front door of your shop and think, don't look at me. I can't, don't look at me. It's too embarrassing. You would talk to them. You would tell them about what you've got for sale and you would try and persuade them to buy it.
Absolutely. So what I also did, so after my childhood, surrounded with paintings and art and so on, my father decided to build a boat, and we sailed across the oceans, and we made a living from inviting guests on board. So they would come over and spend a week, sometimes 10 days, sometimes it was just one day. And we used to work in the Mediterranean and in the Caribbean. And that, of course, was marketing in itself. So we had to make sure, that they were happy. They always wanted to have a chat and looking after them. And then we had to sell the holiday as well, So I used to go to the local bars and restaurants and go around and tell them all what a beautiful day on the boat they were going to have if they bought this ticket with us. So it was hard. It was work. We had to. It was a living. We had to bring the money. Yeah, sometimes you are put in this position that you haven't got a choice, and I think that helped me an awful lot. So the way I've been brought up, my background has really helped me. And if you don't try, you'll never know. You've just got to give it a go, and you'll see 9 times of 10 if you start talking to the camera, people will send you DMs and say, "Oh wow, you were great, well done." You'll see. Just try, give it a go. But like you say, the shopkeeper, very important. You don't want to be too pushy, So just think of your experience walking to a shop. We don't like having somebody coming right there and saying, oh, look at this dress or look at this top. You just feel like saying, oh, leave me alone for a minute. But you wouldn't mind this shopkeeper coming out saying, oh, have you had a nice weekend? Or, what are you up to? Or how's your little Ben? Has he still got chicken pox or whatever? Start the conversation, not necessarily always with your product.
Yeah, it's about, you need to make it about the person who's going to be owning it and taking it home, and figure out what it is about what you do that is going to make those people feel like they want to own it and bring it into their home. How do you go about that? Is it all about Cornwall for you in terms of what you're trying to make people feel around the product?
Not necessarily. It's a bit of everything. We have so many facets of our business. I could talk about Cornwall. So when somebody buys a mug, they escape to Cornwall. But equally, it could be a beautiful piece of design. So I've got many fingers and many pies here. I can play around. So I've got the design. I've got Cornwall. I've got the love of heritage. I've got the beauty of handcraft. I can play around. But most importantly, you want people to buy a teapot or a mug or a plate, go home and tell their friends about your story. So they are basically little mini PR machines working for you.
Yeah, it goes on. It goes on beyond the point of sale, doesn't it? It's so important. They become the real advocates for your company. And I know that I've bought your mugs, Karina, and now I then, because I don't need any more mugs, I'm buying them for my family and friends. They're great gifts and presents. And you do become, like you say, a little ambassador for your business. And that's how growth happens on a platform like Instagram as well. Really powerful growth comes from other people telling their friends that you're great, or that they should follow you and they should buy into what you do.
They are absolutely prime to your business. They are very precious, and that's why it's very important to reply to their DMs, make them feel part of your circle of friends. They are very powerful little mini little PR machines. Look after your customers.
Something that you've mentioned to me in the past, Karina, that has been ringing around in my head a little bit recently is that you actually don't consume a lot of other people's content on Instagram because you spend so much time making it yourself. You don't really follow or keep in touch with an awful lot of other content. And that it goes against, I think, a lot of what people are told about how they should do Instagram well, spend a lot of time engaging, et cetera, et cetera. But you have found that actually investing all your time in creating great content and nurturing relationships on your own account has been enough for it to fly.
Yes, absolutely. I spend so much time. It's work for me. So I switch on and then I switch off. I do my thing and then I switch off, and then I've got my family and everything to look after. So I don't have time to follow other accounts. I very rarely swipe and look around. I very rarely write comments on other people's account. I think I actively chat and follow maybe half a dozen accounts, and you're one of them. Otherwise, I really don't. I don't have the need. And equally, another reason why is that I am very keen to remain totally unique in the way that I just don't want to copy anybody else out there. So if I don't follow anybody, I won't copy their look, their ideas, their whatever. So I just want to be me. And some of my followers are friends, so I chat privately to them, but not publicly. I don't have the time.
I'm super honoured to be on that short list of people that you do engage with, Karina. But I think I just think it's a brilliant, I think it's a brilliant attitude to be like, do you know what? I don't need to look at what other people are doing. I know myself, I know my business, I know what I need to do to help other people connect with what we do, and I'm just going to stay in my lane and do what I need to do. I hope that somebody listening will find that really liberating and freeing and allow them to get on with doing their own thing really confidently.
Be you. If we were to end this podcast, I would end it by saying, don't be afraid to be you. Be you. Post what you love. Talk about what you love. Just don't be afraid to be you. Don't feel you have to copy other ways. Just do it. And like using your fantastic tag, just bloody post it. Just be you and step out, and you'll be rewarded.
Oh, it's the perfect message. I will see you on the gram, of course. Where else, Karina? Keep working hard. I can't wait to see what happens for the business.
Thank you very much, Helen, and enjoy your stripes.
Since this recording, I've been thinking again and again about Karina's approach to not consuming too much content, especially from accounts that do exactly what we do. I think it's so helpful. Yes, she spends a lot of time on Instagram, but that time spent creating posts for her accounts and talking to her customers, not really engaging with others. I think that we can't help but be influenced by what we look at. It finds its way into our work and can rattle our confidence. So set your own boundaries, shut out the noise and focus on what you want to say. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to help others find this podcast, then the thing to do is leave a review. And if you've enjoyed it and are promoting your stuff online, and would like more good tips, help and advice, then get my weekly email. The Switch. People tell me they like it. Go to helenperry.co.uk or just Google Helen Perry and you can't miss the sign up boxes. I'll see you next time. Bye.